Welcome back to the 700 Club. Detentions at the U.S.-Mexico border are on pace to shatter previous numbers. Governors in border states blame the Biden administration's policies, and they're taking matters into their own hands. As Washington correspondent Matt Galka reports, one radical tactic kicked off a feud with New York City's mayor.
From buses to shipping containers, the governors of Texas and Arizona are using whatever they can to solve immigration problems in their states and to protest Joe Biden's immigration policies. This as the U.S. is on pace to top 2 million border arrests for the first time ever. Tractor trailers move shipping containers into position in Yuma, Arizona, as the state looked to fill a 1,000-foot gap in the border wall. The containers will be topped with razor wire. With Arizona Governor Doug Ducey tweeting last week, Arizona has had enough. We can't wait any longer. Texas Governor Greg Abbott is also feuding with the Biden administration. Both Ducey and Abbott have bused migrants from their states to Washington, D.C. and New York City. Abbott doubled down on the move at the CPAC conference earlier this month.
There are more buses on the way as we gather at this conference today.
The move enraged New York City Mayor Eric Adams, who called the busing of asylum seekers horrific.
It's unimaginable that what the governor of Texas has done. When you think about this country, a country that has always been open to those who were fleeing persecution and other intolerable conditions.
And this video from Texas highlights the state's feud with the president's border policies. The Texas National Guard had locked a gate at a crossing area. Border Patrol unlocked it to process migrants trying to get into the country. Abbott called it unbelievable. Border Patrol agents have made more than 1.8 million arrests this fiscal year. The number beats last year's record with 2 months to go. About 70% of the stops are single adults likely looking for work. The numbers come as the Biden administration has undone or rolled back some of the Trump-era immigration policies. The Remain in Mexico policy requiring asylum seekers to stay in Mexico until their court hearings is over. Title 42, a policy that denies migrants asylum because of the pandemic, remains in effect.
The administration wants to end the program. They announced that back in April, but a court has ordered that they keep it in place. So the administration complies in a minimal fashion, but they're not interested in such enforcement tools.
Analysts believe that the numbers are partially and maybe surprisingly driven by Title 42, even though the policy is meant to turn people away at the border. Title 42 does not penalize people for repeated crossings. Border Patrol estimates that about 1 in 4 people have tried to enter the U.S. repeatedly over the past year. Matt Galka, CBN News.
Matt, thank you. The federal judge who approved the search warrant for former President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago home suggests he might make portions of the affidavit public. Judge Bruce Reinhardt has asked the Department of Justice to submit a redacted version of the document by next Thursday. The DOJ opposes making it public, claiming it could compromise the investigation and put witnesses at risk. Trump's legal team made no argument in the hearing. Once the redactions are submitted, the judge will review the document and make his decision. Turning now to the Middle East, a NATO nation estranged from Israel is now taking steps to restore that relationship by reestablishing full diplomatic ties with the Jewish state. Turkey is hoping to gain favor with the U.S. and the West. CBN Middle East correspondent Julie Stahl has that story.
Turkey's foreign minister announced his country will renew full diplomatic relations with Israel.
After the new government took office and Mr. Herzog was elected as president, a process of dialogue with Israel has started.
He said his country will appoint an ambassador to Tel Aviv. One of his roles will be to help Turkey defend the rights of Palestinians. Israeli President Isaac Herzog tweeted that the move will encourage greater economic relations, mutual tourism, and friendship between the Jewish and Turkish people, adding, "Good neighborly relations and the spirit of partnership in the Middle East are important for us all. Members of all faiths, Muslims, Jews, and Christians can and must live together in peace." The two countries established diplomatic ties in 1949, but relations became strained under President Erdogan.
Israel and Turkey had very warm relations before Recep Erdogan became the president of Turkey. The recent desire on Erdogan's part to renew relations with Israel, many believe comes as a result of Turkey's economy really floundering right now and his own popularity dipping as a result of that.
CBN contributor Eli Kohanim says renewal of relations is meant to help Erdogan, but it's a benefit for both sides.
It's certainly positive for Erdogan, again, because it does give him an economic lifeline potentially and brings him back into the embrace of Western countries. For Israel, Turkey is also an important partner in the region because Turkey is a NATO country.
Dr. Galia Lindenstrauss says in the past, Israel needed relations with Turkey more than Turkey with Israel, but that's not the case now.
Another issue on the agenda is the desire of Turkey to purchase F-16 jets from the United States. And there is hope that somehow the pro-Israel lobby will be more positive to such a deal.
Lindenstrauss says Turkey needs Israel's natural gas and is moving towards normalization while a favorable government is in office. Israel wants to see Turkey cool its relations with Hamas.
From the Israeli side, we know a major bone of contention between the two countries is the presence of Hamas military activities on Turkish soil. We know that this is something that Israel wants Turkey to stop.
According to Kohanim, the nearly 2-year-old Abraham Accords between Israel and 4 Arab countries have had an impact.
So we have a new region where Israel as a Jewish state is able to conduct full diplomatic and even military relations with its Muslim and Arab neighbors. And I do think that the Abraham Accords have certainly made it easier for Erdogan to join a growing list of Muslim countries that have ties to Israel.
Kohanim says that while Erdogan's ultimate goal is to be the head of the Islamic world, the West hopes he'll continue to move towards moderation. Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.